the waist tether going down inside the airlock. All right, coming up the last step. Good job. Top of the seat is for happy working on putting my waist tether. Waist tether in the crew lock.
Next up for our spacewalking duo, they'll head out to the portmost section of the space station's truss. They'll head out to P6 in order to remove an H fixture, which is not needed on the solar arrays. The H fixture is a robotic interface that, again, is no longer needed. This plate is secured by 4 bolts and will be released by both crew members, who will then continue working together to remove the plate from the structure. This will open up 4 attach points that will be used for future solar array power system upgrades.
Have the 2 big hooks together locked, they'll close black on black with good pull test. And that small hook from that waist tether is wrapped around my feature key. And the small hook is locked to my right D-ray finger.
All right, that sounds like a good config. And I see Hopper's back at the airlock, so Hopper, you can set up the slingshot. Well, first of all, you can temp stow crew lock bag number 1 on the airlock circular handrail, or you can hand it into Ike and he can stow it in the airlock.
I'm going to go with option 2. All right, at your feet, Ike. Okay, I see it. My SCU is in the way. Okay. Can you go a little farther? Got it. Okay. And if you want to attach, oh no, you've already got them outside. Oh, nice.
Yeah, so for you, Hopper, you can set up the slingshot. So Ike sounds like he's connected to the airlock waist tether, so you can remove Ike's anchor hook, safety tether anchor hook, and attach it to your red reel.
Roger. Didn't work. Okay, crew lock 1 bag, crew lock 1, crew lock bag 1 is connected to the airlock. Ready for your red back? Yeah. Okay. And your BRT red is coming out. Okay.
The first step in preparing to remove the H fixture from the P6 truss involves a slingshot setup. This requires the astronauts to combine tethers because they're so far out on the space station. This technique was actually developed when the shuttle was being built, when the shuttle was building the International Space Station. Because the space station got to a point that it was getting so large, they needed quite a bit longer of a distance from the airlock.
I'm taking your anchor hook. Got it. Tether to the airlock, waist tether. That's it. Okay, it is now attached to my red hook, Velcro, fire lock, black on black, and a good pull test.
Copy. You can pick up your own safety tether anchor hook and stow it on your mini workstation.
Copy. Hey, what, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and get my crew lock bag. That's all right.
Yep, so you're picking up crew lock bag number 2.
I believe that's the one on your side. It is. It's got that crazy tube. Yeah. Could you do me a favor? I can, yeah. You see my safer handles? I see your left safer handle is down. You rotate, and the right safer handle is down. Hand controller is in.
The crew continuing to work together to set up the P6 Slingshot Setup for the P6H fixture removal. A short time ago, NASA astronaut Victor Glover was working on a get-ahead task in the airlock to remove and replace a pip pin. However, he did not believe that it was broken, and after the ground consulted with him, they agreed. So teams have now decided not to perform the pip pin as it is unnecessary.
Yeah, good question. I guess I'm hurt, I can take it.
Or you can leave the large small if you want.
Okay. I'm leaving it behind then. There's a large small on the airlock, the circular handrail.
We just need to be able to close the thermal cover, right?
Yeah.
We're in a brief expected handover between satellites and will regain visuals and communications with the crew shortly. As a reminder, based on updated guidance, teams in mission control will now wear masks at all times while on console and supporting mission operations, except for brief periods of time to eat or drink, as am I during today's spacewalk coverage.
Copy. Okay, I am ready to go.
All right, you can translate to P1, mile marker 9150.
Andy, you get... Roger that, and I take it I am not getting the APFR.
No, we're going to skip that. So you can, as long as you've got crew lock bag number 2 with you, then you can translate out to mile marker 9150. You're looking for handrail 3652.
Copy.
And Ike, if you haven't done so already, you can put crew lock bag number 3 on your BRT.
Crew lock bag 3 on my BRT.
This view of NASA astronaut Mike Hopkins outside of the airlock as he works to set up the slingshot.
You can close the thermal cover. So if you want, you can close the thermal cover.
my waist tether?
Yeah, your waist tether will be coming through, that's right. But so if you want, you can leave it open or half close it.
If it's fine to close, I'll shut it. Thermal cover's closed.
Thank you. And Ike, while you wait, we'll take a glove inspection and hab check.
Seat cart.
And Ike, while you wait, we'll take a glove inspection and hab check.
Copy, stand by.
And copy, Hopper, you're at the port cedar cart.
Yeah.
You just heard the call for a glove and hap check. These checks are done regularly throughout the spacewalk. The glove check ensures that there is not any damage during the spacewalk on the gloves. And the HAP stands for Helmet Absorption Pad, and the astronauts check to ensure nothing is leaking and the inside of the suit is remaining dry.
Andy, my hat is dry, my gloves still look new.
Good news, thank you.
Okay, Andy, I'm at passing 8970 on the mile marker.
Copy. So you're heading to 9150, looking for handrail 3652. Or 3651.
Copy. Okay, I got 3652 and 3651.
All right, so you can put your own anchor hook on handrail 3651.
Copy and work. Okay, easy one, anchor hook is to 3651, bail close, auto lock, black on black, good full test. See, bail is unlocked on the green. Some words on the red.
All right, sounds good. So
red is unlocked, and I got a yellow hook that's happy.
Excellent, that's good config. So you can tether to Ike's anchor hook via his safety tether cable, and then you can attach his anchor hook to 3652.
Copy and work. is in place. Okay, ED2 anchor hook is attached to 3652. Bell close our lock on black. Good fall test. Back you or go to release your waist tether. Copy.
All right, Hopper. At this point, we'll take a glove inspection and hab check from you, please.
Copy and work.
And big picture for both of you. We're going to go out to P6.
No change.
Go ahead with your. Yep, and your hab.
Yes. No change to the gloves and the dry hat.
All right, sounds good. So just big picture, we're going to go out do P6 H fixture removal, and that's probably going to be it for today. We don't see a point in going back out to Columbus or Bartolomeo. We don't think we'll have enough in case we have to do troubleshooting out there again.
Okay. ED2. E1.
So, Hopper, you can...
Okay, the waist tether is back in the airlock on the internal circular D-ring. Egressing and shutting the thermal cover. Thermal cover is closed.
And big picture?
Headed your way, Hopper. Roger.
So big picture, we estimate that you'll be done with the H fixture task at about PT of 6.5 hours, and then we'll use the last half hour or so to get back inside. If you guys agree with that.
You want to? Me too. Headed up to Cedar Spur.
Copy. And Hopper, you're heading out to P6 long spacer. You're looking for handrail 5311. That's on the keel side. For handrail 5311. That's on the keel side.
5311. Okay.
And just a reminder to gauntlets.
That's where I'm under the port feeder cart. Gauntlets are good for ED1.
Copy gauntlets and copy
when I
Ike.
get out there toward the Sarge and I'm on phase 1. All right, Andy, I'm on phase 1 heading for.
Copy. And you're also heading out to the P6 long spacer. You're looking for handrail 5309 for your green hook.
5309. My gauntlets are in place.
Copy.
All right, safety tether Cable is hooked on something further starboard. I'm heading backward. Figure it out.
Copy, Ike.
Hey, Andy, I think I'm at where I need to at Zenith. All right. It decided to do its own poor man's fair lead. I've got my safety there, reels, and I'm headed back port.
Yep. Copy all, Ike. And some more good news, the 4 out of 6 cables that we were able to mate at the Papa's connector panel, they all seem to be good. So at least we got partially connected to Bartolomeo.
That is good. Hey. Awesome, awesome. All right, I just touched Hopper. Yeah. Okay, Andy, I'm at 5311. Now you drop my green hook.
Copy. Yep, you're dropping your green hook there, and then you're heading out to the BGA-H fixture and stowing your crew lock bag on the mass canister handrail.
Yeah. And I just passed the safety tether anchors heading port. What handrail is yours on, Hopper? Where you'll see it's just right above where you'll see my safety tethers going up.
Yeah, Ike, you're looking for 5309.
Copy 5309.
Now approaching the 6-hour mark into today's spacewalk. This is the 233rd spacewalk in support of assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. So far today, NASA astronauts Mike Hopkins and Victor Glover have worked together to remove the Kolka or Columbus Ka band antenna from the airlock and work together to bring it to the Columbus module of the space station. They then removed bolts on the Columbus panels and installed Kolka. They then worked together to secure the Kolka to the Columbus module. Following that, Glover routed Kolka cables, and we have received word that Kolka is up and running and working as it should be. The duo then headed to the Bartolomeo external science payload platform and worked to route cables to Bartolomeo. 2 of the cables that have been connected to Bartolomeo appear to be providing good electrical continuity and power. However, the 3rd cable was not able to be connected and is currently secured via wire tie and temporarily capped off. Because of this, Bartolomeo is not yet functional. However, the current configuration of Bartolomeo is in a safe configuration, and the teams will continue to troubleshoot after today's spacewalk. The crew then removed a cover off of the Kolka, which was installed to protect the antenna during installation. Because the cover was no longer needed, it was then jettisoned. The final task of the day is to remove an H fixture from the P6 truss. The H fixture is a robotic interface that is no longer needed. The crew is currently heading out to the P6 truss, where they will remove 4 bolts and will work together to remove the plate from the structure. Doing so will open up 4 attach points that will be used for future solar array power system upgrades.
And for me, V1, I'm good, thanks. V2's good. And I'm at 5309. Confirm that's where it's my green hook, Andy.
That's a firm.
And work. And Andy, I'm at 4 Bravo.
Copy. So you can stow your crew lock bag on the
edge.
mass canister handrail.
Roger.
Hopper, once you've temp stowed your crew lock bag, you can retrieve the plier set and the combo wrench.
Roger. All right, Andy. Board station to 5309, green hook, and my green reel is unlocked.
Copy. You can head out to the H fixture worksite and stow your crew lock bag on the mass canister handrail.
Copy, heading out. There's the H fixture. Hey-ho. Right, Andy, I'm at the mass canister.
All right. You can stow your...
Is mine more inboard or outboard? I think mine is outboard. The H fixture, that is.
So it's above the ECU.
Yes, thanks for that reminder. Yeah, I think I am tally ECU. Okay. I am getting out my two pliers and my combo wrench.
Yep, so once you have the plier set and the combo wrench, then you can attach an adjustable equipment tether hook to the H fixture.
Okay.
This view from NASA astronaut Mike Hopkins' helmet cam as he gets some tools out of his mini workstation that will be required for the H6 removal. The H fixture is a robotic interface that is no longer needed, and the plate is secured by 4 bolts. The crew members will work together to remove the bolts and then remove the plate from the structure. This will open up 4 attach points that will be used for future solar array power system upgrades.
All right, I see the fixture. Okay, I have the adjustable attached.
Copy. And we have good WES from Hopper, and we do also have WES from you, Ike. It's kind of coming and going, but right now it looks okay.
Awesome. And I'm ready for PGT settings.
All right, just want to make sure you also have a small trash bag ready, just in case of bolt failure. And then PGT settings are Bravo 7, counterclockwise 1.
1207 counterclockwise 1.
Good readback. And when you're ready, Hopper, you can release torque on the 4 bolts. It's 1 to 2 turns, any order.
Roger, in work.
And we'd like
Loading bolt 1.
turns on each bolt.
Hopkins now using his PGT or pistol grip tool in order to remove bolts from the H fixture. The PGT is essentially a space drill that astronauts use during spacewalks to remove and secure bolts.
Bolt 4, 2 turns.
Did you say bolt 4, 2 turns?
Okay, Andy, I'm ready for those settings as well. That's affirmative.
Ike, that's Bravo 7, counterclockwise 1.
Bravo 7, counterclockwise 1. Ready to release.
Okay.
Bolt 3, 2 turns.
Bolt 3, 2 turns. And Ike, you can release 1 to 2 turns, release the torque, any order, please report number of turns.
Copy, releasing bolt 1. And bolt 2, 2 turns.
Copy, bolt 2, 2 turns.
For the next step.
So Hopper, just to confirm, all 4 bolts, you release 2 turns, right?
It's affirmative.
Okay, now you can fully release all the 4 bolts in any order. Same settings, Bravo 7, counterclockwise 1. Please stop driving at 10 turns.
Total or Newton?
Yeah, 12 total, so I did the math for you, 10.
Thank you. Turning. Okay, Andy, I got a little overzealous. I got 4 turns on 1, but I got 2 turns on 2, 3, and 4.
Copy that. You just want to test my math skills. So you can fully release all 4 bolts, same settings, Bravo 7, counterclockwise 1. Bolt 1, please no more than 8 turns, and then 2, 3, and 4, no more than 10 turns.
Work. All right, 10 turns on bolt 1, and it's released.
Copy.
We just heard confirmation that the first bolt on the H fixture has been released. There are 3 bolts remaining.
bolt 1 took 4 more turns, it's fully released. Bolt 2 took 7 more turns, it's fully released.
Copy.
7 bolt 3. Bolt 4 is fully released.
Copy.
Five turns on bolt 3, it's fully released. Bolt 3, fully released.
Copy.
Bolt 4, 7 more turns, fully released.
Copy, Ike. So I have all 4 of your bolts fully released. So you can now install the 2 pliers into the H-fixture channels until the marks are reached. If you need, you can release the MLI as needed.
Copy.
And with that, we just heard confirmation that all 4 bolts on the H fixture have been released. Next up, a special pair of pliers will be installed in order to help remove the H fixture from the plate.
And 10 turns, bolt 2, fully released.
Copy that, Hopper. So you can also install the pliers into the H-fixture channels.
That's it.
So once you have both pliers in the H-fixture channels and really pushed in until the marks are reached, then you can take your crow's foot from the combo wrench and put that in the H-fixture hole and then try to pry it off.
Okay, we copy. All right, I'm just getting my pliers out.
And just a reminder to have a tether on the H fixture for both of you. There should be an adjustable going to the H fixture before you pry it off.
And Evie wants to.
We're in a brief expected handover between satellites and we'll regain communications with our spacewalkers here shortly.
To the H fixture tether.
We just had a handover. I think I copied you said you have a tether to the H fixture.
H, affirm.
This view from NASA astronaut Mike Hopkins' helmet cam as he works to install pliers to the H fixture in order to pry it from the pad. Sure not as easy to hook in those deals. Sure isn't.
Yeah, so just a reminder, both of the pliers need to be inserted at the same time to press the detent out of place before you can pry it off.
Yep. The hope. Yep. Well, I think you want to rotate. Yep, I'm not having much luck either. I'm in different body position. Yeah, I went perpendicular to the handrail. I started.
So if you're having trouble with the pliers, we can try the wedge assemblies.
EV2, I don't think the wedge is going to be any better. They're going slowly. From EV2, can you see my WVS? Like rim, there's a ridge. Yeah, I agree. It's kind of in the way of my plier.
So you said there's a ridge kind of blocking you from rotating a plier, is that right?
Yeah. See it in my videos. Plier is right up against it.
Yeah, I think we see it, so that's why you can't rotate the plier, right?
Hopkins and Glover continuing to try to install pliers in order to pry the H fixture from the pad.
So Ike, it looks like yours might be in. Do you want to give it a go with the combo wrench?
Okay, and work. Yeah, I think the bottom one just went in a little bit more. It's off. Nice.
Good job, Ike.
Didn't feel like they were all the way seated though, Hopper, but they were, just the Kapton tape piece was just a little bit behind the gold. Yeah. I think you might be able to just pop that thing off. No, I'm not even close right now. That last few inches of mine getting in there was just kind of jiggling it. You know how in the video it kind of just went in plane? Yeah. It was in the same plane and then they just rotated. Mine actually came in from the side, the front, the part facing you. I kind of slid it in, and then right at the last minute it went flush in plane. All right, I got my, the lower one.
We received word that Glover was able to get his H fixture removed from the plate. Hopkins still working to remove his.
All right, we see you there working, Hopper. We'll give it another minute or two. And it looks like you have one of them in at least, so if you want to give it a try with the combo wrench, that's fine with us.
I got it. I finally got it.
Yeah, that looks good. We see that.
It's worked. It's released.
And with that, Hopkins was able to remove his H fixture from the plate.
Have you got it without the combo wrench? Yeah, very nice.
It's all the Wheaties, right?
It's just once you got it in the right spot. Sweet spot, where that was.
All right, so you can reinstall MLI if you removed it, and grab some quick imagery of the GSE pad. Now, we'll skip the imagery for now, so you can just reinstall MLI if you removed it, and then stow the tools and the H fixture in your crew lock bags, and then we'll get heading back towards the airlock.
H fixture in the bag. Same for TV1. Gotta get some pictures. Bag is on the BRT. Picking up my tethers. I'm gonna head back. Got your pictures? I go back first anyway. He said skip pictures. Oh, we skip pictures?
No need for pictures today. We're happy. We'll head back. Just before you head back, we'll take a glove inspection, a hab check, and a gauntlets check, please, from both of you.
Okay, crew lock bag is on my BRT. EV2 half-inch drive, got some on my palm of my right glove near the base of my pinky, just some eraser kind of the RTV all intact and it's all still attached. No grease on my thumb, other than that they look new.
Copy. Then just check your gauntlets and you can head back.
Okay, EB1 is my hat, left glove, looks good. Right glove, there's a little damage to the...
And with the successful removal of both H fixtures, a slot is opened up that will be used for future solar power array systems upgrades. The crew is now performing a glove and hap check and will then head back to the airlock to begin ingress procedures.
You put the MLI back in place if you removed it, right?
I didn't remove any. Mine back. Andy, I didn't remove any.
Copy.
I'm heading back. I'm leading back to the airlock, right? You got it. Okay.
Sir, just before you guys head back, I'm sorry. We're going to need a picture after all, just to ensure.
Andy, my camera.
Ike, you can head back. Hopper will just take.
Not working.
Okay, I copy Ike. So just pictures from you, Hopper.
Yeah. I do.
And Ike, you picked up, or you're going to pick up a green hook from 5309, right?
5309, I'm on the way there. All right, I got some pictures.
We copy, Hopper. Thank you.
Okay. I got you loud and clear.
As the spacewalkers perform some closeout imagery, let's take a look back at all that has been accomplished in today's spacewalk, now nearing the 6.5-hour mark. Today's spacewalk is the 233rd in support of assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. To start the day off, NASA astronauts Mike Hopkins and Victor Glover worked together to remove the Kolka, or Columbus Ka band antenna, out of the airlock and brought it with them to the Columbus module. Once at the Columbus module, the duo worked together again to remove bolts on the Columbus panels and then installed the Kolka. Kolka was then secured to the Columbus module and cables were routed. We did receive word that Kolka is up and running and working as it should.
All the way back to the airlock.
Following this, the duo headed to the Bartolomeo science platform and worked to route cables to Bartolomeo. 4 out of the 6 cables that have been connected to Bartolomeo appear to be providing good electrical continuity and power. However, the other 2 were not able to be connected and are currently secured via wire tie and temporarily capped off. Because of this, Bartolomeo is not yet functional. The current Bartolomeo configuration is in a safe configuration, and the teams will continue to troubleshoot after the EVA. The crew then worked together to remove a cover off of the Kolka, which was installed to protect the antenna during installation. Because the cover was no longer needed, it was jettisoned off the robotic arm. The final task of the day you just saw, in which the duo worked together to remove 2 H fixtures from the P6 truss of the station. The H fixtures are robotic interfaces that are no longer needed, and these removals open up 4 attach points that will be used for future solar array power system upgrades. The duo now heading back to the hatch to begin ingress and repressurization procedures.
Hey, Ike. Howdy. All right, Andy, my green hook is to my red reel. Green reel is unlocked. Heading back to the airlock.
Copy that. So once you're back at the airlock, you can open the hatch thermal cover, and then you can attach your waist tether to the airlock waist tether, and then close the hooks and lock them.
Me too. Back. When you get back there, right? Say again? Get the key warm for me. I don't know if I told you earlier, Andy, my gauntlets are in place.
Copy, thank you.
And UV1 as well.
Copy, thank you.
Okay, green hook's on the red reel.
Copy.
AV2 is across the stars, heading inboard. Yeah.
And Hopper, you can translate to handrail 3652 where your anchor hook is, and then hang out there until Ike has established himself at the airlock.
Right. And I got to put my green hook back down. Camera got snagged. All right, I'm across the lab, Hopper. Roger. under the port seat carts. Roger. Getting my green hook for the second time.
Copy all.
Going down the seat spur, Hopper. All right, I'm back at the hatch. Roger. Thermal cover is open.
Copy all. So you can attach your waist tether to the airlock waist tether.
North. What about the airlock D-ring extender?
Yep, that's perfectly fine.
I'm locked on the airlock D-ring extender. Gate closed. Starter's locked. Black on black. Roger. That waist tether small hook is locked to my right D-ring extender. Black on black. Full test, and you have a go. Up the slingshot. Roger. I'll be there in 30 seconds. Timer's running. 30 seconds to the slingshot. All right, I'm at the slingshot.
All right, so you can tether to Ike's safety tether cable, and then you can release his anchor hook and attach it to your red reel.
Go. Hey, Andy, crew lock bag 2, excuse me, 3, on the UIA earring.
Copy.
And I'm going out to get those 2 large small wrecks.
Copy.
Okay, V2 is anchor hook attached to my green red reel. Close, starter lock, black on black, fit full test.
Copy. So
Releasing my ret.
and you can retrieve your own anchor hook and stow it on your mini workstation.
And work.
NASA astronaut Victor Glover has arrived back to the airlock. Mike Hopkins is continuing to make his way back there. Once they both arrive, they'll work on ingress procedures and will work to repressurize the airlock.
coming your way. Roger.
Copy you on your way back to the airlock, Hopper. When you pass the port SIDA cart, please press the brake release 2 times.
Roger. See the cart. Copy. Yeah. See me? Little feet. All right. I see a brake. And Andy, both of those large smalls are on the airlock D-ring extender and released from the circular handrail on the exterior.
Copy that, Ike.
And Andy, I have 2 switches on the left brake of the port SIDA cart.
Yep, we saw that. Thank you.
You bet. Ike, you got a rep for my pre-lock bag? I will shortly. Gotcha.
Station Houston, space to ground 3.
Yeah, 3.
Okay.
Hey, Kate, we know you're watching, but in case you're distracted, the crew's coming back into the airlock here shortly.
I am here. Should see some hooks right there.
For the call button, we're definitely watching.
Or I can hook it for you if you... just let me get a buckle down. Go. You want to just take it off your VRT? Yeah.
Now 6 hours and 43 minutes into today's spacewalk as NASA astronaut Mike Hopkins works to join fellow NASA astronaut Victor Glover in the airlock. Once in, they'll close the hatch and begin repressurization procedures.
What can I do for you? I think Wilder's going to come in. We're in a good config for coming in, right? I like the sound of that. Yep, my safety tether seal is right in the opening, but yeah, other than that, so it's in a good daisy chain. Is that what you show, Andy?
Yeah, from our point of view, everything's good. All the way back from the slingshot. So once Ike's in place, then you have a go to ingress.
After that, currently forward and port but I'm happy to move. Roger, coming in. And thermal cover.
And once the thermal cover is closed, you can attach the Velcro strap.
Velcro strap. Okay, copy.
Hopkins now working to attach the thermal hatch cover, and as the astronauts enter the crew lock portion of the Quest airlock, ingress begins the end of the spacewalk for the day. However, the spacewalk timer will continue to run until repressurization begins, at which point the clock will stop.
Velcro strap is attached.
All right, you can both.
Roomy in here now, Ike? Oh, so roomy, palatial.
All right, then you can remove SCU from the pouch, remove the DCM cover, and Velcro to the DCM, and then connect the SCU to the DCM.
Roger, and work. 2.
Once the crew lock is completely repressurized, the astronauts on the other side of the Quest airlock will bring our spacewalkers in from the crew lock portion to the airlock into the equipment lock, and will help them doff their suits and remove the safers.
And EV1, that's a use test. 2 in work.
Copy, and just double check that the SCU is locked in place.
Locked. EV1 locked. V2 locked.
Copy. A note here, TCV setting of 8, which is max cold, will minimize the time for SCU cooling. All right, so now you can switch your water to off, OFF, and you can expect an H2O is off message.
EV1 off, OFF. EV2 OFF water.
Okay, a caution, don't close the hatch until EMU water is off for 2 minutes.
Okay.
So you can verify the outer hatch is clear of hardware, and verify the hatch handle position is per the hatch decal.
Hatch handle position per the hatch decal. It's in the unlatched position and unlocked. And there is no 5.
Copy, and we're just waiting for the water timer to expire.
Roger.
Okay, that's 2 minutes for the EMU water. You can close and lock the EV hatch hopper.
Roger, in work. I think I'm caught on something back here.
Say again? Oh, it's probably me. You want to be moved to the other side. If you can move aft. Maneuver forward. Any better?
Hopkins now working to close the hatch inside the airlock.
Is that you?
That's me.
Yeah, can you go to the other side?
Can you go to the other side?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Got a crew lock bag. It's loaded. All right, let's do this one more time.
Your safety tethers.
Look,
You got them on your low right side.
okay, can I help? I concur. You latch. I'm showing in the latch position, and I'm locked. Latch is closed.
Copy. That's good.
Tab is closed.
That's good news. That takes us on to the depress repress cue card. And first thing is just to double check that your SCU is connected to your DCM.
And it is connected to the DCM.
EV2.
And again, just double check your water is off, OFF.
EV1, OFF.
EV2, OFF.
All right. Third step is to check that the hatch is closed and locked, which you just did. So next, Ike on
Closed and locked.
the UIA, check that the oxygen EMU-1-2 valve is open.
Oxygen. EMU1, open. EMU2, open.
Next, you can switch power to EV1 and 2 to on, ON.
Power. E1, on. Good green LED. Power. EV2, on. Green LED.
And check that the volt...
8.6 volts times 2.
Say again, how many volts?
On 8.6.
Copy. So on your DCM, you can switch power to SCU and expect a warning tone.
EV1. EV2.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure working with you. At this point, I'll hand you over to Suichi, who's in the equipment lock, standing by, ready to help. Good job today.
Nice
Thank
job,
you so much, Andy. Your friendly Sudive is taking over from here. And EV1, EV2, this is IV. Action, O2 actuator to press.
To actuator to press. CV1.
Stand by. Press 2.
Copy EV2. And EV1, check. EV hatch MPEG closed.
EV hatch impact closed, EV1.
Copy. Okay, next time, okay, I will start repressing and the throttle off to now, but we will go very, very slow. So if you're ready, I'll start repressing.
Okay, copy that.
And you started repressing. Time is 0626. And EB1, EB2, how do you like the rate of the repress?
Feels good right now. EB1.
EB2 is good.
And EB2.
And we're still hot mic, correct, Richie?
This is still hot mic.
Okay.
And EB1, EB2, how's the rate of the repress?
Yeah, you could probably go a little faster. Are you okay with that, Ike?
EB2 is good.
Yeah, a little bit the bump up. Nice.
And with repressurization having begun, our spacewalk clock for the day has officially ended. The spacewalk today officially ended at 12:24 p.m. Central Time. The elapsed time for today's spacewalk was 6 hours and 56 minutes.
While we're finishing up this repress, just want to say congratulations to all the Kolka team, the Bartolomeo team. In particular, I'd like to mention Dr. Ingo Ritat for all his work over the years. I understand he's retiring soon, but also as the chief engineer at Bartolomeo. I know we didn't get it completely done, but hats off to him and the entire team for what we accomplished today. So thank you very much for a great day.
Hey, we appreciate those words, and the whole team down here appreciates working with you, and both you and I put in a lot of hard work to get all the tasks done. Kolka is working, and as you said, we got most of Bartolomeo as well, so good job to both of you.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks, Andy. Great working with you guys.
Some thoughtful words from astronaut Mike Hopkins and ground IV Andy Mogensen, reflecting on the hard work of those on the ground who support and help made this spacewalk possible.
If you increase the rate, let me know if you guys hear Hopkins.
EB1 still good.
EB2 good.
After a 6 hour and 56 minute spacewalk, repressurization is continuing nominally. Just like during depressurization earlier this morning, there is a pause at 5 pounds per square inch of pressure as the astronauts conduct leak checks on their suits. We're currently approaching 2 pounds per square inch of pressure inside the airlock. Again, today's spacewalk officially ended at 12:24 p.m. Central Time and lasted a total of 6 hours and 56 minutes. During that time, today's spacewalkers of NASA astronauts Mike Hopkins and Victor Glover removed the Kolka or Columbus Ka band antenna out of the airlock and brought it with them to the Columbus module. Following this, they removed bolts on Columbus panels in order to install Kolka. They then installed Kolka and then secured it to the Columbus module. Following this, Glover routed Kolka cables, and we have received word that Kolka is up and running. The duo then headed to the Bartolomeo science platform and worked to route cables to Bartolomeo. 4 out of the 6 cables that have been connected to Bartolomeo appear to be providing good electrical continuity and power. However, the other 2 cables were not able to be connected, but are secured via wire ties and temporarily capped off. The current Bartolomeo configuration is in a safe config, and the teams will continue to troubleshoot after today's spacewalk. The crew then headed back to Columbus and removed a cover off of the Kolka, which was installed to protect the antenna during installation. Because the cover was no longer needed, it was jettisoned. The final task of the day was to remove 2 H fixtures from the P6 truss. H fixtures are robotic interfaces that were no longer needed. Before heading out to the P6, Glover worked on a pit pin replacement in the airlock as a get-ahead task. However, after the teams evaluated the existing pit pin was working, they determined that they did not need to replace it. Following this, the duo headed out to the P6 truss where they removed 4 bolts and worked to remove the H fixture from the plate on the truss. This now opens up attach points that will be used for future power system upgrades.
Now we'll wait for 2 minutes for the pressure to stabilize.
Roger.
Station T1 is 302.42.
Copy all station, that's good config.
Houston Station T2 is 301.78.
Station Houston copies the pressures. That's a good leak check. You are go to continue.
Continue. Okay, EB1, EB2, check, switch, glove heaters, OFF.
EB1, OFF.
EB2, OFF.
Check, gloves for contamination. Report to Houston if there's contamination.
EB1, no contamination.
EB2, done.
Copy. And there's a warning, any cost checkware applies, and I believe today's none. So next action, EB1, EB2, O2 actuator to IV.
And work. EB1, IV.
EB2, IV.
Copy. All right, EB1, EB2, we're going to restart repressing. So IV hatch equalization coming to norm. So you guys expect alert tone.
EB1, 2.
Repress started.
Good leak checks at 5 pounds per square inch of pressure as repress continues. Repressurization will continue all the way up to about 14.6 pounds per square inch, which is the nominal pressure at which the station is pressurized. At this point, the hatch will be opened and crew members will be brought in to the equipment lock where they'll doff their suits.
Okay, I needed to allocate now 13.1 according to BCM. I can read it. Stand by for the ID house. Stations with now the DPDP is almost zero. We see ourselves out of the repress Q car, moving on to the post EPA.
Houston copies and concurs. We see you in 1.240.
1.240. EBI and EB2, now we are in the 1.240 post EBI. We're going to open the ID hatch per decal, so stand by.
EB2.
Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency Soichi Noguchi in the red is now opening the hatch. Standing by to assist is NASA astronaut Kate Rubins. Once the hatch is opened, Victor Glover and Mike Hopkins will be brought through the hatch. They'll have their safers removed and then they'll doff their suits.
Hey, it's open.
All right, they're taking me out, Hopper.
We are in EB2. We're starting the safer doffing and starting EB2. So Hopper, stand by.
EB1.
Coming through the hatch first today, NASA astronaut Victor Glover. Mike Hopkins will soon follow behind him.
You guys take care of step 4, right?
Station Houston, step 4 is in work. Stand by.
Okay, we'll be standing by.
Sorry, you can continue, but we're working step 4.
Okay, we'll continue.
With the completion of today's spacewalk, we have some updated statistics. This was the 233rd spacewalk in support of ISS assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. This is the first spacewalk of 2021 and the second spacewalk of Expedition 64. This was the third spacewalk of Hopkins' career, his total spacewalking time now 19 hours and 54 minutes. This was the first spacewalk of Victor Glover's career, his total spacewalking time now 6 hours and 56 minutes. Today's spacewalk lasted a total of 6 hours and 56 minutes, and it brings the total spacewalking time on the International Space Station to 61 days, 1 hour, and 47 minutes of total spacewalking time.
Space to Ground 1, Station Houston, Space to Ground 1, step 4 complete. Crew is no longer hot mic.
Glover's SAFER has now been removed. As a reminder, SAFER stands for Simplified Aid for EVA Rescue. This is essentially a space jetpack that the crew member would use in an emergency situation if they were to become detached from the space station.
The last is that the crew is no longer hot mic.
All right, copy, thank you.
Mike Hopkins' safer jetpack has now been removed. The 233rd spacewalk in support of station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades is now complete. The spacewalk lasted a total of 6 hours and 56 minutes. During today's spacewalk, NASA astronauts Mike Hopkins and Victor Glover took the Kolka, or Columbus Ka band antenna, out of the airlock and brought it with them to the Columbus module. Following this, bolts on the Columbus module panels were removed in order to install the Kolka. Kolka was then installed and secured to the Columbus module. Following this, Glover worked to route Kolka cables, and we did receive word that Kolka is up and running. The duo then headed to the Bartolomeo science platform and worked to route cables to Bartolomeo. 4 out of the 6 cables have been connected to Bartolomeo and appear to be working in good electrical order. However, the other 2 cables were not able to be connected, but are secured via wire ties and are temporarily capped off. The current Bartolomeo configuration is in a safe configuration, and the teams will continue to troubleshoot after today's spacewalk. Following this, the crew headed back to Columbus and removed a cover off of the Kolka, which was installed to protect the antenna during installation. Because the cover was no longer needed, it was then jettisoned. The final task of the day was to remove 2 H fixtures from the P6 truss. H fixtures are robotic interfaces that are no longer needed. Before heading out to P6, Glover worked on a pip pin replacement in the airlock as a get-ahead task. However, after the team evaluated the existing pin and determined it was in working condition, they decided that the get-ahead task was no longer needed and the pin did not need to be replaced. Following this, the duo headed out to the P6 truss, where they each removed 4 bolts and worked to remove the H fixtures from their plates on the truss. This now opens up 4 attach points that will be used for future solar array power system upgrades. NASA astronaut Kate Rubins on the right working to help Mike Hopkins remove his spacesuit, while Suichi Noguchi on the left in the red works to remove Victor Glover's. Kate Rubins and Suichi Noguchi now working to remove the spacewalkers' gloves.
Station Houston, space to ground 1 for the desuiting ops.
Both spacewalkers now have their gloves removed. Next up, we'll look to have their helmets removed.
Just request that when you get down to step 36, in particular for Hopper or Ike's ComCap, if you guys could please inspect the embeds and also potentially take pictures of the embeds, just because he had started having that loss of hearing in the one of the sides of the ComCap. So if you could check that out for us, do an inspection, maybe take a photo, that'd be appreciated.
Step 36, we will take a close-up photo, especially for EV1, EV2. Guys want to do the disconnect the helmet one by one, so starting from you.
Today's 6-hour and 56-minute spacewalk is now complete. This was the first spacewalk of 2021 and the second of Expedition 64. This was again the first spacewalk for Victor Glover and the third for Mike Hopkins. The duo will head back outside the station's hatch on Monday to complete additional upgrades to the space station. You can tune in live. Coverage begins at 4:30 a.m. Central Time.
Station on 2.
With both astronauts now back inside the equipment portion of the Quest airlock, that wraps up our 6-hour and 56-minute long spacewalk for today. That will conclude our coverage. Thanks for watching. Signing off for now, this is Mission Control Houston.
Okay, station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
I am ready for the event.
Houston, Houston ACR, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Houston ACR. How do you hear me?
Houston, we have you loud and clear. How do you read me?
We have you loud and clear.
Awesome, because I am ready to do some reading. Hello everyone, to all the kids out there, whether it's at school or home or wherever you are. My name is Shannon Walker, and I'm an astronaut living aboard the International Space Station. Right now, I'm in what we call the Japanese Experiment Module. Our friends in Japan created this module so we could do science on board, and we've got all kinds of instruments around us that help us do research on the space station. In fact, behind me right here is an airlock. We can put things inside the airlock and then take them outside and do research outside as well as inside the space station. It's all very exciting. But today, I want to read a story. What I want to read is a story called Willow the Water Bear. I don't know what a water bear is, but hopefully we'll find out. Let's begin. Read along with me. All right. Willow, the water bear, was a curious little thing, but she wanted to do more than dance and sing. And here's a picture, I think, where Willow is supposed to live. I don't see Willow the water bear in here, but we're in a forest and we've got a snake in a tree and some flowers, so a really place to live, I think. A really place to live? I wish I were a superhero, Willow exclaimed. I'd save people and everyone would know my name. You're perfectly fine, Mr. Tardy declared. But I want to be strong, Willow shared. What if I told you, Mrs. Gray declared aloud, that you're already a superhero? Be proud. So what do we have here? I think this is Willow right there, and that's probably Mr. Tardy and Mrs. Gray, and this is where they live in the forest. And they have a little caterpillar as a friend, it looks like. So let's see what happens next. And you can see Willow wants to be a superhero because she's got on a mask and a cape. And I think, you know, superheroes like to wear masks and capes. I'm nothing special, Willow said with a sigh. Not special at all. I can't even fly. Mr. Tardy stood up and held out 8 hands. Ms. Gray did as well, as if it were planned. 8 hands? I only have 2 hands. They've got 8 hands. Come with us, Willow, they both said politely. We'll show you a superhero. Hold on tightly. So there they are talking, and here I think they're getting ready to go on an adventure, but they're tiny, so they're actually using a leaf to travel around in the wind. Very exciting. So away they went through the forest of trees to the depths of the ocean where the pressure squeezed. Ooh, to the bottom of the ocean. Amazing, shouted Willow, but where's the superhero? He's moved, said a sea clam. Try looking near absolute zero. Near absolute zero, a confused Willow replied. That's right, said the sea clam. Nice meeting you. Goodbye. So here they all are on the bottom of the ocean, and this is a giant sea clam, and you can see Willow right there talking to the sea clam, and a big fish there, and then Mr. Tardy and Ms. Grade watching. But there's no superhero here, so they're going to have to go somewhere else to find the superhero. Their adventure continued to the chilly Antarctic Ocean, where they met Mr. Krill, who approached them with caution. What brings you out here? Mr. Krill whispered quietly. We're looking for a superhero, Willow stated, quite mightily. I'm afraid he's not here. In fact, you just missed him. He's left planet Earth, but he's still in the solar system. So there they all are down in Antarctica. We've got penguins in Antarctica. We've got Willow and her friends talking to Mr. Krill. Mr. Krill is peeking out of the water there. Mr. Krill is a kind of shrimp. Left planet Earth, Willow shouted with fear. No worries, Miss Grade said. Follow us, my dear. Scared but excited, Willow followed the two. What is that? Willow asked. Oh wait, that's the moon. They arrived on the moon in the vacuum of space. Surely this must be where a hero awaits. Joe, Laz, what are you two doing here? Have you seen the superhero? Willow asked, full of cheer. And there they are out in space going off to see the moon. I don't think they're using the rocket ship, but they're flying off to the moon. Very exciting. We're traveling with our family for a week of vacation. No superheroes here, just rest and relaxation. I want to go home, Willow the water bear cried. There's no such thing as superheroes. Admit it, you lied. We did not lie, Mr. Tardy said sharply. That's true, Mrs. Grade said. You accuse us falsely. And so there they are on the moon. You can see the sun in the background and the moon. And then Willow's friend, Joe and Laz, are on the moon having a little vacation. That's kind of neat. Think about it, Willow, she said with a grin. What if the hero all along was within? You've traveled the world and the depths of the ocean to the chill of the Antarctic where most life lacks motion. So it gave Willow something to think about. There's Willow and all the places she's been on this little adventure. They went down and saw the sea clam. They went into outer space, or they went down to Antarctica where it was really cold, and they went into outer space and are on the moon right now. Just look where you stand in the vacuum of space. No one other creature could survive in this place. Have you figured it out? Is it all become clearer? Superheroes are real. Just look in the mirror. That's absolutely true. All you have to do is look in the mirror. Everybody is some kind of superhero. We all have our special talents and things that we can do that maybe nobody else can do. And Willow is now very excited because she realizes that she is a superhero after all. That's just wonderful. So, now that Willow knows that she's a superhero, we didn't really find out much about water bears. So let's see what the book can tell us about what a water bear is. So I've got some facts about water bears. So water bears are actually also called tardigrades. I know that's a big word. Water bear is kind of a nickname for tardigrade. So tardigrades are water bears, can be found almost everywhere and live on every continent, including Antarctica. I don't know if I've ever seen a water bear, but I think they're pretty small. They were first discovered by Johann August Ephraim Goethe in 1773 and were given their names by Lazzaro Spallanzani, ooh, that's a tough name, in 1776. So water bears were discovered almost 250 years ago. That is a long time ago. Tardigrades, or water bears, are incredibly unique because they can survive stresses that are beyond extreme, such as drying out. So they like to live in water maybe, but they can dry out. They can survive freezing. They can survive high temperatures and intense radiation. They can even survive the vacuum of space, which is amazing because I can't do that. Even as an astronaut, I cannot survive the vacuum of space. They make up an entire group of tiny animals unto themselves, and they are most closely related to arthropods. Now, arthropods are things that include insects and crustaceans and nematodes. Nematodes is a different thing. Nematodes are actually small, microscopic, round worms. So tardigrades, or water bears, are related. Their cousins are insects and worms. That's pretty interesting. Researchers believe that the common ancestor of tardigrades and their relatives were made up of additional parts. They had more parts in their body, kind of like worms have different segments. They think that the tardigrades had more segments. And that over time, tardigrades lost many of these middle segments. And so basically right now, tardigrades, the water bears, are only heads and legs. That's kind of funny sounding to me. Just heads and legs, and maybe some hands, because they said they had 8 hands. Many people think that there's only one kind of tardigrade, but scientists have actually discovered over 1,200 different species, and they're still counting. That is a lot of water bears. A lot of water bears everywhere. All water bears have a tough exoskeleton surrounding them. Exoskeleton. So you know how we have a skeleton on the inside, our bones are on the inside? With water bears, it's apparently on the outside. That's very unusual. Some species of water bears have ornate spikes and plates and horns decorating their outsides. Researchers aren't sure what these spikes and horns are for, but they think they may help the water bears to understand and feel things that are going around in their environment. Pretty cool. Researchers also speculate that when tardigrades dry out, they can be picked up by the wind and be carried around the world. This might help explain why we find water bears on every continent. So they dry out, they get blown off by the wind, and they just go everywhere. When hydrated or put back into water, tardigrades rarely live for more than a few months, so they don't live very long. However, when they are dried or frozen, they can survive for years, some cases decades. So if you had a tardigrade, you could dry it out and keep it for a really, really long time, and later on, you can put it back in some water and it would still be alive. Amazing. So, because they're so tiny, if you have a microscope, you can probably find a tardigrade living around you. Maybe in your schoolyard, in your playground, in a park, or even in your backyard if you have one. So, maybe someday you can go see tardigrades for yourself. Pretty cool. That's great. So, that is my story, and I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're able to read along with me. And what I'd like to do right now is answer some questions for some folks. And I have some questions right here. Let's see. The first question I have is from Maddie, who is age 4. And Maddie wants to know what she can do to become an astronaut someday. Well, Maddie, the most important thing you can do is study hard in school. As astronauts, we all have studied a lot of math and a lot of science, because that is the main thing we do in space. So work hard in school, and that will help you become an astronaut someday. Lucas and Diego have the questions. They're age 6. They want to know what kind of plants we have on the International Space Station. Great question. We actually have several different plants growing on the space station right now. We're growing some lettuce because it's always good to eat your vegetables, and we're growing some other plants too that we can use in salads. So we haven't grown them very long. They're just a few weeks old, but I'm hoping in another couple weeks we'll be able to eat some of these plants and have a delicious meal. Landon, who's 7, wants to know, where do you get your food if you run out? Excellent question, because we do not want to run out of food. I do not like going hungry. But what we do is every few months we have a supply ship come up to the space station and bring us more food. So it always has more food than we need. And so we've got a lot of spare food on board, like back in the pantry. We can always find something to eat. And then every few months we'll get more food. So hopefully we never run out. Sophie, who's 8, wants to know what the sunset looks like from space. Oh, Sophie, the sunset is so beautiful from space. If you could only see the colors. It's kind of like the sunset on Earth, but it goes really, really quickly because we're going around the Earth so fast, and you can kind of see all the colors at once. We're looking down at the atmosphere, and so our atmosphere is really small, and so the sunset, instead of seeing a wide open sky like you might see on Earth, you can see the sky, and it's only about that big, but you can see all the colors. It's absolutely beautiful to see the sunset in space. Claire, age 6, has these questions. We keep track of the days with the sun and the moon. If you're in outer space, how do you know what day it is, and how do you pick what time there is? What time it is there? Fantastic question, because we are going around the Earth a lot faster than the Earth rotates. So, what that means is that we actually have to pick a time zone, and we've picked a time that is just like the time for the people in Europe. So we just said, all right, today at this time it is midnight, and we do our day from there. And then how do we know what day it is? Well, we've got calendars and watches, so we know what day it is, and we just operate on a slightly different time than the United States operates on. Grace, age 12, wants to know what's it like to float in the space station versus outside the space station. Well, the biggest difference between floating in the space station, and I am floating in the space station, by the way, so I can just float and stay here. The biggest difference between inside and outside is that I have an atmosphere inside and we don't have an atmosphere outside. It's the vacuum of space. So when we're outside the space station, we actually have to wear a spacesuit, and we wear that spacesuit to keep us alive. It gives us oxygen to breathe, and it keeps us cool so we can survive when we're outside the space station. Ada Joe wants to know what made me want to be an astronaut and explore space. Well, I tell you, what made me want to be an astronaut is when I was quite young, a little bit younger than Ada Joe was. Ada Joe is 6. We sent astronauts to the moon. And my parents were telling me about it, and we went out into the backyard and we saw the moon, and they said that we have people on the moon, and I thought that was just the most fantastic idea ever. And ever since I was quite young, I wanted to be an astronaut. And now I am. It's great. Angie, age 12, and Jackson, age 4, want to know if anyone has ever gotten sick in space, and how does it compare when you're sick on Earth, and what do you do to get better? Fantastic question. Actually, we don't have anybody that's ever gotten sick in space, and the reason is because before we go into space, before we get on our rocket, we spend a lot of time in quarantine. Now, I know right now a lot of the world has been staying home to try and not get sick, and that's exactly what we do. We go live in a special place before we launch on our rocket into space, and we stay there away from everybody else so that we keep all the germs away from us, and we are healthy. So when we launch into space, we don't have a cold, we don't have a flu, we don't have anything else, and we don't have to worry about getting sick because nobody up here has anything, because we've all been in quarantine. Ellie, age 9, wants to know about our muscles in space and if our muscles shrink when we're in space, which is a good question because we're not walking around in gravity all the time, and so we don't use our muscles the same way, and it's it can be very easy to lose strength and not be as strong when we get back from being in space. But what we do is exercise every single day. Very important. We have 3 machines that we can use to exercise on. We have an exercise bike, we have a treadmill, which you may think, how do you run on a treadmill? We use a treadmill for running. We actually have to have a harness to hold us down to the treadmill so we don't float off. And we have this magical machine that's kind of like lifting weights. We push against resistance, and that's what really works our muscles to keep us strong when we're in space. And so we do that every day when we're up here to stay healthy. And if you could exercise every day at home, that would be fantastic because that would be great for your muscles too, and you would stay healthy on Earth. Lenny, age 15, wants to know if it's scary to look out in the lonely abyss of space when we're up here. Abyss, that's a big word. So Lenny, no, it's not scary to look out in space. It's actually quite interesting to look out in space. So there's 2 things we can look at. During the day, it's very easy to look down at the Earth and look at our planet, and we can see all the continents, we can see all the rivers and cities, and so that's very interesting. But when it's nighttime up here, we can look out in the universe and see all the stars, and we see so many stars. It's just unbelievable. We can see the Milky Way and just so many things to see out there. And so I don't feel lonely. I've got my crewmates up here. I know my friends and family on Earth, and I don't feel like I'm too far away from anybody. So I just find it interesting to look out into space as opposed to lonely. Speaking of stars, Arthur, age 3, wants to know if we have ever seen a full constellation from the space station. Well, we have, because we can see so many stars up here. I probably have seen maybe all the constellations, although I'm not very good at picking out the constellations, but we can certainly see them from up here. Louis Barton, age 9, says that he once read in a book that there is a beaver dam that is big enough to see from space. And he wants to know if we can see it from the International Space Station. You know what? I had no idea that there was a beaver dam big enough to see from space. Apparently, it's in the Wood Buffalo National Park in northern Alberta, Canada. And it's supposed to be twice the size of the Hoover Dam. Well, the Hoover Dam is huge, and I can see that from space. So if this beaver dam is twice the size of Hoover Dam, I bet I can see it. And now I'm going to have to go spend some time looking for that, because I would love to see a beaver dam that is that big. That's fascinating. Robin, age 5, wants to know, if we squeeze juice out in space, does it come out as a big bubble or does it just fall to the ground? You know, Robin, you're pretty smart, because it doesn't fall to the ground. It just floats in space, just like we're floating. So if I squeezed a blob of juice or some water, and I'm sorry I don't have any with me, it just makes a ball and it just floats right there. So if I wanted to, I could get a straw and stick it into the ball of juice and just drink juice from the ball floating in space. It's kind of fun to play with your food up here. Raymond, who is 8.5, wants to know if I could try any sport in space for fun, what would we try? Great question. On the ground, I like to play soccer. So I would probably play soccer up here, but what would be really cool is we could play soccer in all different directions. And so we might be on the wall this way, and then I could kick a ball off of that way, and then maybe one of our crewmates would be upside down, and we could kick a ball from a different direction. So three-dimensional soccer, I think, would be a lot of fun to play in space. All right, what other questions? Michael, age 9, wants to know what the biggest difference between a car motor and a spaceship motor. Great question. Some ways are the same, because both car motors and spaceship motors take some fuel, they burn the fuel, and it causes a reaction. In a car, the car motor is actually hooked up to the wheels. And so when the car motor goes, the wheels turn, and it's the wheels on the ground using friction that make the car go. In space, of course, spaceships don't have any wheels. We don't need wheels because we're not going on a road. So what happens with the spaceship motor, instead of being attached to wheels, the gas that is burning in the motor actually goes out the back end of the spaceship motor. And so as the gas goes that way, the spaceship goes this way, and that's how spaceships fly. It's pretty fascinating. But in some ways, car motors, spaceship motors are the same, but how they interact with their environment is different. Olivia, age 5, wants to know, how can an astronaut stay put in the same place while floating? You know what? It's kind of hard. I actually have my feet tucked under a rail here so I can stay in the same place, because if I didn't, I'll probably just start floating off somewhere, and then, like you see, I'll have to hang on to something, hang on with my hands or hang on with my feet to stay in the same place. Floating can be fun, but sometimes when you have to get work done, it can be kind of hard to stay in the same place. Ooh, like now. All right. Let's see. Merida, age 6, wants to know, why do you have to go into space? Well, good question. Astronauts go into space because we want to explore the universe, and we want to understand how the universe works. We want to understand science better. We want to understand how things work on Earth, and we want to develop things that might make life better on Earth. There's all kinds of things that have been developed in space that make life better on Earth. And so, as scientists and researchers, we want to do the research and science in space to help everybody and to understand the universe. All right, let's see. I think that was the last question we have, and so I thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe next time I'll read another book and answer some more questions. See ya.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes our event.
US EVA coal upgrades is going to begin with EV1 egressing the Quest airlock first. The crew is going to be bringing out with them the COLCA, which stands for the Columbus Ka-band antenna. This hardware is going to be installed on the Columbus module during this EVA. EV1 is going to translate out to the Columbus module via the translation path you can see here. And we'll need to set up a few things at the worksite before that installation. EV2 is going to translate to an external platform called ESP2, where he is going to be ingressing the SSRMS, the robotic arm. The robotic arm is going to be taking him over to the Columbus worksite with the COLCA. So the crew members are going to meet up at the worksite. They need to remove bolts that are on the Columbus panels. Where those bolts are removed is where the COLCA is going to be installed. So they work together securing COLCA to the Columbus module. Once it is secure, EV2 is going to route the cabling for that COLCA and plug it into the Columbus module. Meanwhile, EV1 is going to head to the Bartolomeo platform. So Bartolomeo is an external platform in which payloads can be installed. There are clamps that need to be opened up in order to remove the cabling that needs to get routed in order to activate the Bartolomeo platform. So the crew works together to get those cables routed and installed. EV1 also needs to remove another set of cabling that is going to hook up an antenna for Bartolomeo, which you can see here. Once Bartolomeo is complete, the crew members are going to go back to the COLCA and remove a cover. So the cover was installed in order to protect the antenna during installation. Since it's no longer needed, we are going to have EV2 jettison that cover while he's on the SSRMS. Once the activities are complete at the Columbus worksite, both crew members meet back up at the Quest airlock. They reconfigure some bags to take out with them for their next task, which is going to be out at the portmost section of the space station truss. They're going to be heading out to P6. You can see the translation path here. And the crew members are going to be removing an H fixture. So this H fixture is not needed on the solar arrays. So we're going to remove that H fixture. Both of them are going to be removing one of them. And this plate is going to be removed because it's going to be where a future upgrade of the solar arrays is going to be installed. So the plates are removed, put into a bag, and they will be brought back inside after the EVA. So once both crew members are complete with that, they both head back to the Quest airlock, and we have completed the planned tasks for the EVA. If there is some time at the end of the EVA, we will have some get-aheads for the crew to perform.
To begin the ISS upgrades to EVA, EV1 with red stripes egresses the airlock, followed by EV2. Both crew translate to the 4 Alpha integrated equipment assembly, where EV1 installs a scoop on the direct current switching unit, and EV2 stows a tool bag onto the adapter plate. The crew work together to remove the adapter plate from slot 2 and bring it to slot 6. To install the adapter plate, the EV crew drive 2 bolts on the adapter plate. EV1 drives 1 bolt on the lithium-ion battery in slot 5. EV2 uses a ratchet wrench to break torque on the direct current switching unit, and then resets the torque at a lower value with the pistol grip tool. EV2 connects the adapter plate to the lithium-ion battery, completing the circuit for the 4 Alpha 3 power channel. EV1 translates to the 4 Alpha Beta gimbal assembly. EV1 removes the H fixture in preparation for a future EVA. EV1 then returns to the airlock. EV2 previously returned to the airlock and now goes to the external stowage platform 2. EV2 removes a portable foot restraint, installs it onto the robotic arm, and then ingresses. The robotic arm takes EV2 to the camera port 3 worksite at the S1 lower outboard location. EV1 brings out the replacement camera group to the worksite. With both crew at the worksite, EV2 releases 3 bolts and removes the failed camera group. The crew swap out the failed and replacement units. Then EV2 installs and drives 3 bolts. EV1 then returns the failed unit to the airlock. The arm flies EV2 over to the US laboratory module and the camera port 13 worksite. EV2 installs an external high-definition camera onto the current camera group. EV2 mates connections and installs a strap before returning to the external platform 2. Since there are no further arm operations during this EVA, EV2 will egress the arm and remove the portable foot restraint. After EV1 stows the failed camera group 3 in the airlock, he retrieves the new wrist vision equipment box and translates along the US laboratory in Node 2 module, then under the Japanese experiment module to the exposed facility. At the base of the Japanese robotic arm, EV1 stows a tool bag carrying the wrist vision equipment. This box provides a camera view and light to support arm operations. EV1 installs a scoop, which is a handling aid, onto the failed wrist vision equipment box, and then removes the box. He then installs the new wrist vision equipment box and removes the handling aid from that and stows that in the tool bag. EV1 retrieves the tool bag with the failed wrist vision equipment and then retraces his path along the Japanese experiment module, the Node 2 module, to the US laboratory. EV1 goes to the base of the camera port 13 stanchion and will mate the Ethernet cable to the wireless access port cable of the newly installed external high-definition camera. Both crew return to the airlock. EV2 ingresses, followed by EV1, completing the planned task for ISS upgrades to EVA.
Off your engine start. And we're in the cross count. Engine start. We're in the cross count. Call for south, please continue to monitor your system. And grass is in control. All right, first 25 seconds. TDRA, we did get an MCF on engine 4. Copy that, but we're still running. Still got 4 good engines, right? Copy that. Passes through 60 seconds. Get into our first gimbal profile.
BTG is SE.
Go, sir.
I do see some TCC violations on the rest.
And we got a shutdown. All personnel. Shutdown looks like let's all go to page 656. Page 656, please.
US EVA coal upgrades is going to begin with EV1 egressing the Quest airlock first. The crew is going to be bringing out with them the COLCA, which stands for the Columbus Ka band antenna. This hardware is going to be installed on the Columbus module during this EVA. EV1 is going to translate out to the Columbus module via the translation path you can see here. And we'll need to set up a few things at the worksite before that installation. EV2 is going to translate to an external platform called ESP2, where he is going to be ingressing the SSRMS, the robotic arm. The robotic arm is going to be taking him over to the Columbus worksite with the COLCA. So the crew members are going to meet up at the worksite. They need to remove bolts that are on the Columbus panels. Where those bolts are removed is where the COLCA is going to be installed. So they work together securing COLCA to the Columbus module. Once it is secure, EV2 is going to route the cabling for that COLCA and plug it into the Columbus module. Meanwhile, EV1 is going to head to the Bartolomeo platform. So Bartolomeo is an external platform in which payloads can be installed. There are clamps that need to be opened up in order to remove the cabling that needs to get routed in order to activate the Bartolomeo platform. So the crew works together to get those cables routed and installed. EV1 also needs to remove another set of cabling that is going to hook up an antenna for Bartolomeo, which you can see here. Once Bartolomeo is complete, the crew members are going to go back to the COLCA and remove a cover. So the cover was installed in order to protect the antenna during installation. Since it's no longer needed, we are going to have EV2 jettison that cover while he's on the SSRMS. And once the activities are complete at the Columbus worksite, both crew members meet back up at the Quest airlock. They reconfigure some bags to take out with them for their next task, which is going to be out at the portmost section of the space station truss. They're going to be heading out to P6. You can see the translation path here. And the crew members are going to be removing an H fixture. So this H fixture is not needed on the solar arrays. So we're going to remove that H fixture. Both of them are going to be removing one of them. And this plate is going to be removed because it's going to be where a future upgrade of the solar arrays is going to be installed. So the plates are removed, put into a bag, and they will be brought back inside after the EVA. So once both crew members are complete with that, they both head back to the Quest airlock, and we have completed the planned tasks for the EVA. If there is some time at the end of the EVA, we will have some get-aheads for the crew to perform.
To begin the ISS upgrades to EVA, EV1 with red stripes egresses the airlock, followed by EV2. Both crew translate to the 4 Alpha integrated equipment assembly, where EV1 installs a scoop on the direct current switching unit, and EV2 stows a tool bag onto the adapter plate. The crew work together to remove the adapter plate from slot 2 and bring it to slot 6. To install the adapter plate, the EV crew drive 2 bolts on the adapter plate. EV1 drives 1 bolt on the lithium-ion battery in slot 5. EV2 uses a ratchet wrench to break torque on the direct current switching unit and then resets the torque at a lower value with the pistol grip tool. EV2 connects the adapter plate to the lithium-ion battery, completing the circuit for the 4 alpha 3 power channel. EV1 translates to the 4 alpha beta gimbal assembly. EV1 removes the H fixture in preparation for a future EVA. EV1 then returns to the airlock. EV2 previously returned to the airlock and now goes to the external stowage platform 2. EV2 removes a portable foot restraint, installs it onto the robotic arm, and then ingresses. The robotic arm takes EV2 to the camera port 3 worksite at the S1 lower outboard location. EV1 brings out the replacement camera group to the worksite. With both crew at the worksite, EV2 releases 3 bolts and removes the failed camera group. The crew swap out the failed and replacement units. Then EV2 installs and drives 3 bolts. EV1 then returns the failed unit to the airlock. The arm flies EV2 over to the US laboratory module and the camera port 13 worksite. EV2 installs an external high-definition camera onto the current camera group. EV2 mates connections and installs a strap before returning to the external platform 2. Since there are no further arm operations during this EVA, EV2 will egress the arm and remove the portable foot restraint. After EV1 stows the failed camera group 3 in the airlock, he retrieves the new wrist vision equipment box and translates along the US laboratory and Node 2 module, then under the Japanese experiment module to the exposed facility. At the base of the Japanese robotic arm, EV1 stows a tool bag carrying the wrist vision equipment. This box provides a camera view and light to support arm operations. EV1 installs a scoop, which is a handling aid, onto the failed wrist vision equipment box, and then removes the box. Then installs the new wrist vision equipment box and removes the handling aid from that and stows that in the tool bag. EV1 retrieves the tool bag with the failed wrist vision equipment and then retraces his path along the Japanese experiment module, the Node 2 module, to the US laboratory. EV1 goes to the base of the camera port 13 stanchion and will mate the Ethernet cable to the wireless access port cable of the newly installed external high-definition camera. Both crew return to the airlock. EV2 ingresses, followed by EV1, completing the planned task for ISS upgrades to EVA.